Quickly, please respond.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you, Chairman. I'll try to respond to some. I may invite my colleagues to respond to the others. What has Ipoa done within its mandate? Honorable Dai, Chair, you raised this question, what has Ipoa done within its mandate? Whether we've been able to hold police to account, and what have we done in terms of command responsibility? I would say that Ipoa has done a lot. Probably one of our deficiencies is not going too much to the media. But in terms of accountability, we've done a lot. We've done many recommendations. We've completed record investigations within the time of our lifespan as the board that is continuing. And indeed, we find ourselves between a rock and a hard place. Here we are being told we haven't done enough. You talk to the police officers, they don't want to see us. They say we are the worst team that ever came into being. We've increased the number of files that are with the DPP. We found about 60 files in courts. We've moved that number to 170. We have over 380 files lying at the DPP. And in total, we've forwarded over 500 files to the DPP. So a lot has been done. We've engaged DPP to try and see how that process can move faster. And at one point during the former DPP, he established a human rights desk to help review those files. And there are 2 points to it. One could be those that we have recommended prosecution so that they make progress, and could be those that are pending and the officers need to be exonerated and the cases are still pending. So it cuts both ways. When these files are not attended quickly, there are those officers who are suffering, their files are still pending. And also there are those Kenyans whose files need to be prosecuted and the files are pending. It's work in progress. There are many reasons that have been given for this, including the fact that DPP, of course, receives files from many people, and those files are handled against the capacity that that office has. In terms of command responsibility, we've tried. We have the Tungependa case, which was initially done public inquest, and the judiciary recommended prosecution of very many officers. It was brought back to DPP. We supported DPP in investigating that case, and our conclusion was that there must be command responsibility. Again, that file is still sitting with the DPP. But our recommendation is that there has to be an element of command responsibility in certain matters. Tungependa is a good case. There is a case we call Nambale that was withdrawn without further consultation to us, where we had made recommendation for command responsibility. Again, that office does not report to us in terms of oversight. So when cases are withdrawn, the law allows them to do that. There is nothing much we can do. But in terms of Ipoa position, there are instances where there is need for command responsibility. In terms of the next question that the chairman asked was deaths and injuries arising out of the demonstrations. The report that we shall be submitting has that data. In summary, we received 237 complaints involving 359 complainants. That is the period.
You say the report you're submitting now or when?
No.
The report you shall be submitting has got that data.
Yes, the one that you have directed that we sent through the email.
Okay.
Has that data.
And is it for election or post-election period?
CEO will be speaking into that, but it's also available. That data is also available. In terms of demonstrations, we received 237 during this period between Sabasaba and the time there was ceasefire when this team was established. We received 237 complaints involving 359 complainants. Deaths that we received as Ipoa are 57 that are under active investigation. Some of them are the tail deaths. Deaths that we have captured. Deaths, before.
Of death?
Yes. Within the period of demonstration.
That you confirmed?
That the reports that Ipoa has. The data that we have on deaths is 57.
Not 73.
Not 73. And this is how they are classified. Kisumu 33, Nakuru 2,
Slowly.
Nairobi 20.
Come again.
They are all under investigation, but Kisumu we had 33, Nakuru 2, Nairobi 20, Kakamega 2. Injuries were a number of them, and all that data is in this report that we shall be submitting to the committee. In terms of extrajudicial killings and the ability to institute private prosecution, I think Honorable Omar has already spoken into that. We've been seeking prosecutorial powers because you are a government entity, and you have had the position of the crafters of these documents. The position is that there should be separation of powers, and therefore as a government entity, unless this team gives us prosecutorial powers, the law ties us to make recommendations to the Office of the Director of Public Prosecution.
So are you saying the law is such that it constrains you
Yes.
from undertaking private prosecution?
Yes. Yes.
Explicitly?
We cannot do private because you're government. We are a government entity.
Under what law?
Ipoa Act.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking you. Is it explicit in the Act that you can't undertake private prosecution? And if you juxtapose that with the provisions of Article 157, let's help us understand. Yeah.
Sure. Ipoa can do private prosecutions. What we are saying is that when we do our investigations and need to give recommendations to the ODPP, we have to wait until the ODPP now either agrees with our recommendations or returns the file to us to ask us to add on the evidence that he thinks perhaps does not meet the threshold. And during that process, because sometimes we finish our investigations very quickly, most of the investigations are over. But as you have heard from the figures, the files that are pending before the ODPP are too many. And we continue doing our investigations and forwarding our recommendations there. That's why we were asking for prosecutorial powers.
So, Waiganjo,
yes,
some of those files can stay there forever.
Yes.
In theory.
Sometimes in theory, they will stay there forever. Sometimes when they go to court, they'll be withdrawn without reference to the independent policing.
Can you do us a favor, Wigancho? Can you give us an analysis of the files that you have taken to the DPP,
certainly,
those that have been prosecuted and those that are still pending?
That will be done right away, Chair. We have our CEO here who is in charge of the Secretariat, and we will give out those figures. But on to the matter that was also brought forth on the extrajudicial killings, we would also want this committee to take extrajudicial killings in law now legislatively from Manda. Yeah, Manda extrajudicial killing. We want a demarcation in law because we talk about extrajudicial killings and there is also Manda. So we want a clarity in that, and that can only be found in law. And then on abductions, we want clear reference between abduction and enforced disappearance, because the law is broad. We do not have a clear-cut law. When you say, because you cannot, sometimes there's an abduction and then you reappear. So you had disappeared, but you have appeared. So we are not clear on when are you abducted or when there is an enforced disappearance. The president also assured us that we would be carrying out an inquiry on enforced disappearance and extrajudicial killings. So we want that to come forth so that the citizens can come and give their stories, because the files are many. We've post-mortem reports. We have a challenge of witnesses coming to us, because also the witness protection program does not have sufficient budget to cover our witnesses. We have lost witnesses clearly when we have good cases. So those are some of the challenges we have. And I want to leave it now so that you can get the actual figures from our CEO.
Salake, you're the CEO, unless otherwise.